Hey guys, welcome back to Deadman 110 and welcome back to another wrestling video and on today's wrestling video we're going to be discussing about how the Judgment Day have kind of fallen under the radar a bit in a sense, like they're not as cool as I guess they were. But yeah, we're going to be talking about that. I'm going to be giving my opinions to do with that, and we have kicking in with Ross's video to help us out with that. So, yeah, away we go.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy Ross back at it again with another video. So, we're going to be checking out WWE killed the biggest opportunity it had. WrestleMania is talking about Judgment Day, the group that a lot of us were excited that was created by Edge, only to be disappointed.
Yeah, this was such a cool idea by Edge. You can tell that Edge came up with this because I highly doubt anybody else of like the young talent would have came up with this. I feel like I kind of doubt it, but it's a shame that it did fall under the radar like it did.
When Edge got the boot, and then we found out why he got the boot, creative differences in the back. Apparently, this is what they were saying. Apparently, they wanted the Judgment Day group to go in a supernatural route, which Edge was not for. So they kicked him out the group. And you know what? It really does suck because the group, you can tell, was made to help stars that are kind of just floating around.
Yeah, like it had a cause. Like it wasn't. They weren't just rebels without causes. Like Edge was trying to make them into stars, and obviously it didn't really pan out that way. Really, not really.
On the roster. Like noticeable stars, people know who they are, but they're not really getting over the hump. Like it's not really much.
Yeah, like obviously everybody knows of Finn Balor and all these other things. Everybody knows of Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. You know, they're getting by. They're doing their thing. They've been champions, but they're not really getting to that next level. They're not really getting that itch that they need, which is why Edge created the group in the first place to really benefit Rhea and Damian, really, because they were the two in that group. Technically, it wasn't Finn, but still, like like it was to obviously help them, and obviously things obviously didn't fall into play the way that everybody hoped they would because of apparently creative differences. I didn't realize that at the time, but obviously that is the reasoning.
For them to do, or they're not getting where they need to be, like they're just kind of floating around in the mid-card space. So this was a way to get them over, and they dropped the ball on that. So we're gonna check this out. Once again, y'all go subscribe to WrestleMania if you haven't already been subscribed to him.
Yeah, if you're wrestling fans and you enjoy wrestling and all that jazz, subscribe to WrestleMania. He'll have you covered. He's great at this stuff, or they're great at this stuff, and yeah, you'll enjoy the content for sure.
Quite some time, so go check out some more of his other videos.
As have I
soon
as
as
well.
I
I've
seen
been
that he dropped this,
subscribed to
I
him
wanted to check
for a
it
good
out with
while
you guys
too.
because I think this is a very interesting topic to really dive into. So let's get right into this bad boy, man.
Indeed.
What's happened to the Judgment Day? The once white-hot faction that became less popular than the 24/7 championship division just overnight.
This is
Joining us
very
now as
true,
WrestleMania looks
unfortunately.
at how WWE
Oh
have
man,
blocked
That's kind of depressing to think about because of how true it is, but I mean, it is true.
it with the Judgment Day faction. WWE's biggest opportunity in some time.
they
Be sure to
definitely
subscribe and hit that notification bell
messed
for
this
daily
up.
wrestling
Yeah,
videos
that's a
and follow us
shame.
on Facebook
It's a real,
for
real
exclusive
shame that
lists.
that did
also check out
happen.
WrestleMania.co.uk and a non-wrestling channel. Incredible.
Yeah, subscribe to WrestleMania, subscribe to that other channel, Incredible, where it's not necessarily wrestling related, but you'll probably still find your tastes of what you like on there anyway. So I would subscribe to both of those channels in that situation. So yeah, go ahead and do that. great videos more than likely on the Incredible channel, and great videos, and I know this for a fact, great videos, or for a fact, and great videos on the WrestleMania channel. So subscribe to both channels is basically what I'm saying.
On the Judgment Day is DOA, aka Dead on Arrival,
Yep.
an incredible reversal of fortune for one of the
Gotta, if only I knew what that stood for all the time, then I could literally I could literally use that, which would be actually quite funny in conversation. But either way, that is true. Like they really have fallen under the radar, sadly.
WWE's hottest factions since the Hurt Business. Regrettably, it looks like the Judgment Day will go down in history just like the Hurt Business did, a faction that was white hot with wrestling fans, but that the WWE found a way to ruin.
The Hurt Business had so much promise and potential, and WWE.
Yeah, it really did. Like, I was starting to really love them when they walked out in that, badass fashion with, the suits and the Evolution vibes and all that. Like, I loved them when they took down Retribution the way that they did. I think it was Retribution. Another group faction that they really dropped the ball with at the same time. Well, not at the same time, but before then, which could have been really something, but instead turned into nothing. But point is, I began to really love them as a faction after they did that, because it gave me vibes of Evolution, and I thought it was really cool. But then they managed to drop the ball with that team, so yeah, now Judgment Day is the latest faction to actually be under that radar, unfortunately, to be screwed up the way it kind of has. In my opinion, it's not as good as it was.
For whatever reason, messed that up too. I don't know why. It's like the formula is there to really help other wrestlers get themselves over.
It's like, it's never the factions that are the problem. Like, when you got something like art or a formula that you work on and you create, like, that's never the problem. It's keeping it in balance. It's keeping it going that's the problem with WWE, and they seem to kind of struggle to do that in a way. That is something that I've noticed over the last maybe year or couple of years or whatever, maybe. Yeah, they've kind of struggled to do that.
Even more. Bobby was already getting over with the help of MVP. Having Cedric and Sheldon Benjamin there with him, that would have.
Yeah, it was perfect, but obviously, obviously it wasn't perfect, but it was great. Like, it was awesome, but obviously it didn't last long.
Helped them as well. Like, I don't know, man. It's just, this is why factions are created. Sometimes they're created to help one guy really get over more than.
Great creation, but there's a better blue way for a
And
brilliantly
we have
clean
another
toilet.
advert.
New Blue Brilliant Gel all-in-one.
And everybody
Well,
else.
rather, we have
And
an
in other
advert.
situations, they're able to get somebody that wasn't doing nothing on the roster, get some TV time.
Yeah, that's basically what factions are for, and this faction did both of those things in spades. But then obviously, like I said, didn't last long because it got screwed up. So, there you go.
Some people to care about them as well. That's what it's supposed to do.
Ruin it. As good as the Hurt Business was, the case can be made that the Judgment Day had even more potential, and that it could have jump-started both Raw and SmackDown.
To be fair, I think it had more potential considering of who the leader was. It was Edge. And I mean, obviously the guy's been in the business for literally decades now, and I mean, yeah, I was fully trusting him with this whole faction, and therefore really enjoyed it. But then obviously he got booted out because of apparently creative differences, and therefore that's obviously changed the complexion of everything now. So there you go.
Firstly, it was a powerful premise, but the Judgment Day had money written all over it. Things got off to a superb start as Edge, bitter over his repeated failures to create new glories after a miraculous return from retirement, assembled a faction of rising stars who also felt held back by their reliance on pleasing the fans.
Yeah, that was genius writing. That was genius writing.
Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, who have both tasted success, clearly wanted more, and Edge told them everything they wanted to hear. The group did what they said and beat down WWE talent with promises of more destruction to come, as well as an open invitation to anyone in the WWE to come join them. It didn't take long for the Judgment Day to become the most exciting thing happening on Raw.
This is very
on paper,
true.
the Judgment Day had the
Yes.
potential to target both Raw and SmackDown superstars, and Edge's remark about losing to someone cosplaying Aquaman.
Yeah, that honestly could have been really, really cool if they started going to like Raw and SmackDown and all that, and running roughshod. Like, oh man, that would have been really, really cool. Like, imagine some of the people that could have ended up on the team. Like, man, oh man, like there was talks of Tommaso Ciampa being on the team. There was talks of Finn Balor being on the team, even though technically now he is. But I'm more on about when Edge was leader. But there was talks of Finn being on the team with his demon persona, more to the point. There was talks of, what else was there talks of? I can't remember, to be fair, but those were kind of the main two that got thrown around a lot. So, yeah.
Was a great tease for an Edge versus Roman rematch.
I love that segment. I love that little promo segment. I'm thinking,
I didn't even realize that he that he said that. That's actually quite funny, but also genius, because that could have built to a Roman versus Edge rematch, which I think would have been really, really interesting given the character change, but obviously nothing fell through the way that it needed to.
this is nice. This is what I want to see. Even though Edge is a heel, Roman is a heel, I'm all for it. Who would not want to see?
Roman's a heel, obviously, but Edge is a heel in a different way. That's what's interesting. Like, WWE obviously don't like it when they do like heels versus heels and all these other things, but Edge is Edge is a heel in a different way, and I can't really pinpoint what that different way is, or rather was a heel in a different way, but I still can't point out what that was or is or whatever. But that was just the case. That's how I looked at it, and I still look at it that way looking back at it. Simple as that.
See the Judgment Day faction, depending on how many more people they added, versus the Bloodline in like a Survivor Series elimination match.
That
You
would have
found a
been
way
amazing.
to get the WWE Championship off of Roman back on Monday Night Raw, and somehow Edge was able to get the championship. Edge was able to get the championship, and he's, leading Team Judgment Day.
That would have been amazing. Plus, he would have won back the title that he never lost. So it would have literally been close to perfect, because that would be literally ticking all the boxes. But obviously that never fell through, as I've been repeatedly saying. Obviously.
Over the Bloodline, like that would have been a nice Survivor Series match. I would have been all for it. I would have been all for it. Hell, you don't even have to put the title on Edge, the WWE Championship. That's still a main event feud. They could have been trying to destroy each other on each other's show. Like,
I mean, literally, you would have had like two of the biggest factions going right now. How is that not money? How is that not main event level feud status? Like, you would have to be out of your mind not to believe that. And literally, honestly, if you don't believe that, then you're just simply not a wrestling fan, or you just don't understand, like that would have been money. That would have, it just would have made logical sense. Simple as that. And it would have been fun and would have made for brilliant entertainment and brilliant television.
The possibilities there, they were there, but WWE, I don't know. They just wanted to go the supernatural route. Like, what are we talking about?
This time with Edge having backup. Why did it fall?
I mean, I'm all for supernatural stuff, but obviously I see that Edge isn't.
apart. The Judgment Day continued its winning ways, defeating the trio of Liv Morgan, AJ Styles and Finn Balor in Hell in a Cell, and promising a new
Anyway, back to this.
member. Regrettably, that's when everything fell apart as the Judgment Day
Yeah.
introduced its newest member the next night on Raw, with Finn Balor joining the group and helping Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley kick Edge out of the very group he'd assembled. The most obvious
That
reason
is
why Judgment Day is
unfortunate.
DOA is the decision to take its founder Edge out of the group. However, there's more to the group going from the penthouse to the outhouse than the loss of its leader. The first is a poorly executed plan. Kicking Edge out of the Judgment Day wasn't a bad idea. However, as often happens with the WWE's creative department,
Yeah, it wasn't a bad idea. That wasn't the problem. That was literally the most shocking thing easily that happened this year for WWE. Like, well, I wouldn't say easily. That's probably a controversial. That's probably a bold claim to make, but it was easy. It was definitely a shocking moment of this year, no doubt about it. And then the double turn with Finn only made it even better, but it's more what happened after that that kind of screwed it all up in a way. In my opinion, personally.
the plan was poorly executed,
Yeah.
resulting in a dull aftermath and a variety of plot holes in what should have been a dynamic development for the group of heels.
Yeah.
The writers also failed to follow up with a compelling storyline to show why the new version of the Judgment Day was even more dangerous than the first. Number 2, hot shot booking. Booting Edge out of the Judgment Day was more hot shot booking from the WWE, and as we've noted before, there can be cases where hot shot booking works, but usually these instances are the exceptions that prove the rule. Although the WWE seems to have leaked stories that Edge didn't want to participate in a supernatural storyline, there's no evidence to back up the supernatural storyline spin. Certainly, the Judgment Day had a gothic feel from it from the start, but there were never any supernatural elements.
Yeah, it always had a gothic thing around it. I mean, like, even with the entrance, you saw the Raven there, like, it always did, and that's kind of one of the reasons why, I was into the group, because, I enjoy gothic things, I enjoy supernatural things, but even then they didn't have the supernatural parts, so, I mean, they were living their best life even without it, so, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I just don't know what to tell you, like, it's just one of those things.
Nor have there been any since Edge.
And here's the thing about that rumor. I somewhat believe it because it's WWE. That's their creative team, and I don't even think it's just all their creative team. I think Vince has the ultimate say so. I think that just.
I mean, of course he does, because he's Vince McMahon. He may not be running the company as much as he was, like, let's say, like 3 to 4 months ago, but he still, gets some kind of a say in what goes on around there, so you're also taking that into account, as well as obviously the writers.
This reeks of Vince McMahon. Oh, let's add a supernatural element, or somebody that like really is a yes man for Vince saying that. Like, I can believe that a lot more because it's WWE we're talking about. And I can see why Edge was like, you know what, I'm out of here. Just take me out. And it was a weird thing when it happened because it was so soon. Like, they just created the faction. So if Edge was going to get the boot, I would think it would have been much later when these guys are really established as something a very serious.
A part of me does wish that they would have left that booting for a little while before, the names were established, because it just would have been better that way. I mean, granted, it was still shocking, obviously, and then the double turn made it even more shocking, but I mean, in hindsight, I don't think it really benefited the group at all. In hindsight.
Biggest threat here, but you see what happened.
Edge left the group. The WWE is unlikely to admit this, but the evidence suggests Edge was kicked out in order to give Raw a top babyface. Furthermore, Edge's latest turn is problematic as the rated R superstar has fallen into the same category as the Big Show and Braun Strowman, superstars whose turns make no sense and usually without any explanation. While wrestling fans have short memories when it comes to heel turns, this one could end up hurting his character, as the fans will have little reason to cheer a man who just spent the last 2 months insulting them.
Yeah.
Kicking Edge out has led to no advance in the storyline. The decision to have the heels govern themselves as equals may have seemed logical because no one left in the group stands out as a main eventer, unlike Edge.
Nope.
Unfortunately, the Judgment Day's collaborative...
I mean, Edge was a Hall of Famer. Like, if that doesn't scream main event, then what else does? Because in my book, nothing else does.
Rule has led to no accomplishments like the original incarnation had, making them look incompetent. It didn't help that the Judgment Day seemed to sit on their hands for the next 2 weeks after eliminating Edge, suggesting that WWE wasn't even sure what to do with the new trio.
They didn't even do nothing when I'm after it. If you're going to do that, you got to have them wreck shop on everybody. That's what I would have had. Them just screwing up matches before Rhea got
Yeah, that would have been a great idea.
hurt and stuff. I would have had them just doing all type of chaotic stuff to really illustrate they have gone mega rogue. No one can tell them what to do. They're going to destroy Raw, SmackDown.
They could have been like pretty much the Shield and be like savage dogs and just picking apart whoever, whatever they wanted on either show. Hell, they could have went to freaking NXT and run roughshod there. I mean, that's a bit far-fetched and all that, but I believe they could have definitely done it. Like, I feel like that could have totally happened. Because if you've got like a mad, rabid Wolverine of a faction that doesn't have a leader in the form of them three, then they're not going to have no filter. They're not going to pick where to go. They're going to go wherever the hell they want to go, whether it's SmackDown, Raw, or NXT to run roughshod. And even then, they would go to all of the brands. So, I mean, they could have totally done that. Simple as that.
NXT don't matter until they get what they want.
Exactly.
Expulsion. Number 3, gaping plot holes. Unlike most seemingly hot-shotted storylines, there are plenty of plot holes in the Judgment Day 2.0. First, there was no explanation for just what led to the faction turning on Edge, a leader who helped them get their, dare we say, competitor's edge back. Second, what made the group think that Finn Balor was a good addition?
Yeah, a bit ironic that he said that, and also a little bit amusing, but either way, like, that's what Edge was trying to do, obviously, so I mean, it's unfortunate, but obviously stuff happens. Obviously, this is kind of classic WWE at this point, and also vintage WWE, but I mean, what are you gonna do?
When he proved incapable of defeating anyone from the Judgment Day. These storyline shortcomings could have easily been explained, but so far they haven't. The decision to expel Edge could have been based on the group becoming intoxicated with their recent success and power, but the WWE has done nothing to show this with promos or backstage segments. As for recruiting Balor, the WWE could have shown Balor deciding that he's had enough of getting beat up every week, and or revealing he planted seeds of doubt in Priest and Ripley, taking the group over with the promise that he could help the Nightmare and the Archer of Infamy accomplish even more than what they did with Edge. The WWE Universe have come to expect plot holes, may they be minor or gaping, but when they affect a popular storyline, it's a wretched reflection on the entire company and bad for the fans' morale. Fans are still getting over their disgust with what happened with the Hurt Business, and this is sure to cause even more friction between fans and the WWE. Number 4, Rhea Ripley's injury. Now, obviously, this was out of WWE's hands.
Yeah, this was out of WWE's hands. Like, this didn't really help them at all. And it still doesn't help them. And obviously, it's not Rhea Ripley's fault. Stuff happens. It's wrestling. Like, not everything is going to go right. I mean, they're literally beating the holy hell out of each other, and it's like, like stuff is going to happen that wasn't meant to happen. Simple as that. It's not often that it happens, but when it does happen, it's kind of to be expected, because not everything goes smoothly, and especially in the world of wrestling, it's not always smooth sailing. So, yeah. Sucks to have it obviously happen to Rhea Ripley anyway, but yeah, that's just the way it goes.
But Rhea Ripley's injury obviously slowed down some of the group's post-Edge momentum, but they were already in bad shape after they kicked Edge out of the group. The Nightmare has been vague about the exact nature of her injury, so it's impossible to know whether she can appear to cut promos. You'd think the WWE could have had her tape vignettes, but assuming she can't, why not add another member who can talk? Alexa Bliss could have easily stepped into the Judgment Day, and as fans know, her name was brought up as a potential member before Rhea Ripley joined.
Yeah, Alexa Bliss. Yeah, she was battered around a bit in terms of being a potential member of the Judgment Day for a time before Rhea Ripley went in there. So, I mean, that could have easily happened after Rhea's injury, because, well, like I said, it could have easily happened, but it didn't.
And considering the skills she showed playing a demon doll for The Fiend, a twisted version of Little Miss Bliss seems like an easy way to make up for Ripley's absence.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. She always, she obviously already knows how to play a demon psychotic character, because she did it for the Fiend Bray Wyatt character, and while everybody was a bit hit or miss about it, I personally loved it. But then again, I enjoy gothic kind of supernatural stuff, because that's how screwed up in the head I am. But still, like, that's not the point. Like, she was able to make that work even with all the backlash that she got from apparently stealing Bray Wyatt's gimmick, in inverted commas. And I even discussed this with Sammy. Shout out to you, buddy. But yeah, I even discussed this with him on my live stream on Twitch to do with Lego Batman 1. The girl deserves a freaking Oscar for doing that character, given the backlash that she got, but also obviously the support that she got and the love that she got for doing that character. Like, she deserved a freaking Oscar, because she was able to make it work through thick and thin. And credit to her, obviously.
For a fact, a lot of you Alexa Bliss fans, we're talking about the hardcore fans. Oh, y'all would lose your mind in ecstasy if y'all found out she joined. Oh my god. Oh.
Hell, I would. I would love it. I mean, I'm not like a hardcore Alexa Bliss fan, but I can still consider myself a fan of hers, and in that situation, I would love it. It would be great, and she would know how to get it done. So, it would be a match made in heaven. But obviously that never ended up happening in the end, but it was obviously battered around before Rhea Ripley did join the group, and I still feel like it could have been battered around even after Rhea got that injury. But obviously it never happened in the end.
I don't even want to think about the comments. Oh, mommy Alexa Bliss, yes, she's part of the group now. Worship her.
I should be annoyed at this because I'm a fan of Alexa and her character, but I just find it hilarious. It's super, super funny. It really, really is. Oh, God. Doubt all the other Alexa Bliss fans would enjoy that humorous comment, but needless to say, I found it funny, so there you go. It's kind of all that matters, really, in this current situation.
Y'all love y'all some Alexa Bliss a little bit too much sometimes.
Number 5, poor promos. Ripley quickly proved she was the Judgment Day's most charismatic worker and is the best talker once Edge was removed. Damian Priest is better used as a strong silent type, while Finn Balor just hasn't had too many opportunities to talk in WWE. Number 6, stalled storylines. I
mean, granted, he did say something quite insane on on Raw last night, apparently, and that was him saying to Ray and Dominic that Ray was apparently a bad father. Obviously, that was in storyline. He obviously don't believe that in real life and all that other stuff. It was obviously to build drama and all that, but man, oh man. Yeah, that shocked me. First time I heard that, that shocked me big time. Literally big time.
Worst elements of the post-Edge Judgment Day is that the group has gone from working a high-profile program with AJ Styles to wrestling Ray and Dominic in a hastily assembled series. The only promise here is a Dominic heel turn, but the WWE has teased Dominic turning heel for the last year, and a heel turn could be a good way to jumpstart the Judgment Day and Dominic, who should be doing more than just playing Via's punching bag.
Yeah.
It's obvious that creative has put the Judgment Day's development and storylines on.
Yeah, I've been saying for a while now, for over a year, like, Dom needs a character big time. He really, really does, and he just doesn't really have that while being with Ray, because he gets kind of swept under the rug because of, you know, the legend of Rey Mysterio and all that jazz, and then also Ray celebrating his 20th anniversary apparently soon as well. So he's just always kind of an afterthought, Dominic is, in a way, and therefore he needs to branch out on his own, and he needs to get himself a character, like, literally imminently, because that's the only way he's going to be able to really... That's the only way he's really going to be able to succeed in the WWE. Like, he has good talent, don't get me wrong, but the one crucial thing that you need is a character. I mean, how else did John Cena go through 20 years of WWE if it wasn't because of that? Because when he started out as the prototype, he didn't even have a character, really, until he ended up, you know, doing his old thugonomics and rapping stuff and being inappropriately funny every week on Raw and SmackDown. But that's not the point. Point is, yeah, so he didn't have a character like way back in the day when he debuted. Cena didn't. And it's the same with Dominic. He needs to, you know, try and get himself a character and all these other things and such. And him being with Ray doesn't really help him with that really. Which is why a lot of people have kind of been saying that, oh, he should branch out on his own. And I'm all for that. I'm very, very agreeant towards that.
All pending Edge's return, but there's more problems ahead. As bad as the Judgment Day's decline has been, things are likely only going to get worse when Edge returns. Don't be surprised to see the Rated R superstar dismantle the group by himself, with Damian Priest sliding back down the card and Balor disappearing into obscurity, aka main event. Despite the Judgment Day circling...
Not a main event. Oh, no.
That could happen, but, I mean, we don't know that for sure. I mean, at this point, we're just predicting it, so, I mean, I'll leave it to chance. So, therefore, you know, we'll see what happens.
Oh, that's the wrestling, well, WWE wrestling purgatory. When you start getting booked for main event, it's wraps, B.
Drain, the WWE can still
yeah.
breathe some life into it by having Rhea Ripley do the majority of the talking, at least until Finn Balor finds his voice, and or recruiting a member who has more charisma as an upper card or preferably main event player such as Alexa Bliss. The Judgment Day's problem is entirely...
Yeah, Alexa would be the best to really join that group right now. Still, I still do firmly believe that she should join the group, and I think she's still been kind of battered around in a sense, in the sense of like her joining the group. I think people have still been saying like, oh, she should join the group. Like, I think she's still one of those superstars that's heavily kind of brought up in conversations about that. But yeah, she kind of does need to join that group, to be honest. It's at some point, because I just think it'll kind of benefit the group quite a lot.
The WWE's making, which
especially on the promo side of things, more to the point than anything else.
Means it shouldn't have to bring a former superstar back or bring in someone from outside the company. While the idea of doing so may be tempting, especially if they were like to pick Bray Wyatt or something, there's just as much chance the WWE will stumble with an outsider. The Judgment Day still has potential, and the right moves could get it back on track. This includes bringing one or two new...
Yeah, I'm not saying that obviously it doesn't have potential anymore, because it still kind of does. Like, it's still kind of there, but it just really, really has fallen down. It's just fallen down the well, kind of, since obviously Edge left and all these other things started creeping up afterwards.
Members from Raw, SmackDown, or even NXT,
Mm-hmm.
having the group start causing havoc on all three brands as it renews its
I was just saying that. Have them cause
That would help them tremendously. That would give so much more credibility back to that team or faction. It really, really would.
chaos. Chaos will breed some excitement, some life.
Because when you think of the word Judgment and then Judgment Day, you think of chaos. Simple as that. That's one of the things that you think of, is chaos. So why not have them do said chaos? I mean, that would be the best way to, bring more legitimacy back to that group and make them more of a threat again. That would really, really help them a lot.
Have
that
them
faction.
just start screwing up shit on all the shows. Make people care. You can still do this without Edge. Make people care, and then have Edge come back. But we know Edge coming back, he's gonna try to murder them all. So I don't know what you do there, but
Yeah.
you want to really bring some interest to them, have them do that.
its mission statement to
I mean, this is the best time for them to do that, is right now, because obviously it's not going to be long before Edge, I guess, comes back. So you literally just gotta literally hit and run. Literally. Hit and run. Or hit and destroy in their case. But either way, like, that's what you gotta do. And I totally didn't just say that because I was watching some funny videos of the Simpsons hit and run video game, but still, that's not the point. Oh boy. Point is, yeah, so they've got to do that, because that'll bring legitimacy back to that team. Simple as that.
cast judgment on the WWE and planning out a long-term storyline for the group that features them on a regular basis. But there you have it, guys.
Yeah, it's actually kind of simple. I know Rhea's out, so take his advice.
Yeah, believe it or not, it is actually kind of simple. Shockingly simple. Staggeringly simple. Disturbingly simple. But who knows whether they're going to take that route.
Maybe get Alexa Bliss, because Alexa Bliss is not really doing anything right now.
I mean, true, she's not doing a whole lot. I mean, she's still doing a bit, don't get me wrong. She's still doing stuff, but you put her in the Judgment Day and oh boy, things are going to heat up, and things are going to heat up good. And I'm not just saying that to be funny. I mean that seriously. Like, it'll really, really help that faction out, and I suppose help Alexa out in a sense as well. Because obviously there's been some stuff that's happened with her character, with the whole Lily situation, the Lily doll and, Piccadilly Circus and all that stuff. But we haven't really seen much of a transformation as such. But then she hasn't, I guess, been back that long. Like, she came back in, May, and we're only in July. So, I mean, there's still time. But I just believe that if they really, really wanted to go big with it, then having her along with Judgment Day, I think, would be definitely a good way to do it. So, yeah. That's obviously how I feel about that.
So I think that would kind of be cool, You can have Alexa Bliss fill in for Rhea Ripley, and then Rhea Ripley comes back, and initially, they have some tension too, Alexa Bliss and Rhea Ripley, because they start to listen more to Alexa Bliss more than Rhea Ripley, and there's some dissension there. You can create some dissension there.
And it would help a lot, because, I mean, if Edge is going to come back and go after Judgment Day, he's going to need a few tag team partners. And, I mean, once you do that little thing with Alexa, you've already got one, that being Alexa. So, there you go.
Ways to really book this. They just gotta fucking do it. It's actually not as hard as they think it is. It's not.
Believe it or not.
You want to get these guys over, get them over. Have them really cause some chaos, build a storyline around them taking.
Yeah, have them do stuff. Have them, freck up, shite. Like, have them do stuff. Like, don't just have them be just sitting there and just feuding with Dominic and Mysterio, who have been in the tag team mid-card division of such for a while now. Like, don't have them do that. No disrespect to Ray, obviously, and obviously Dominic hasn't even got a character, so we should really be focusing on that, but still, like, just have them do stuff. Have them cause chaos. Have them be menace to society. Or to WWE in this case. Like, you know, like, just, like, it's surprisingly not as hard as one would think, but obviously, when it comes to WWE, it's anything but easy.
Over WWE and passing judgment on everyone. I would love to see it. I would love to see it. Hopefully they...
Because when you think of Judgment and Judgment Day, the word, and you know, look it up in the dictionary, you think of words like chaos, destruction, annihilation, suffering, and all these other things. And none of that has happened. Really. None of that has really happened as far as recent Raw episodes, I guess, are concerned.
Do it, but I doubt it.
So am I being a bit ranty? Yes, but it's for the right reasons, obviously, because I found this group quite compelling. Two of the reasons are because I enjoy supernatural things and gothic things a little bit, because that's how screwed up I am in a way. But either way, like, I thought the team was compelling. It was interesting. It was different. But obviously, it hasn't gone according to plan, clearly.
I doubt it. So comment down below. Let me know.
But anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, then like, comment, subscribe, share the videos. If we could get up to 150 likes, that'll be great. And yeah, ciao guys.